of recent, you would have seen that we've had repeating cases of domestic violence, incidents of where women and children particularly have had to pay sometimes the ultimate price. The greatest or the biggest one was the incident reported last week where a woman was set ablaze by her husband, and she was 7 months pregnant at the time. Eventually, she lost the baby, lost her life, and well, it was a very sad one. But to discuss not just that issue, but issues also relating to the plight of, like, to borrow her word, voiceless women and vulnerable children. On set with me, Chichi and I this morning is Amara Nwosu. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Chichi.
Chichi will just run through some of your profile.
Yes, Amara Nwosu is a women and children's rights advocate, a columnist, and say when a woman is burning with passion, she finds various media to express what it is she's so concerned about. She's a columnist and founder Dorcas Generation Initiative, a non-governmental organization that lends a voice to voiceless women. Okay, welcome. Now let's look at the whole issue of violence against women, domestic and all of that. Like Chuk said, the case in point is a woman who was set ablaze by her own husband, lost a baby to that whole incident. Now, lost her life also. Like the Daily Sun said, sad end. Now, let's look at the causes of all of this. The fact that some women are in this because, according to them, you leave that man, you are not sure of the next meal you would have afterwards. Run us through the causes and the issues.
Yes, like I told them, Chooks, I think last week when we were talking, I was a victim of domestic violence. I went through it and I know what it feels like. And that's why I always tell people, I say I'm a Christian, and people who know me, they know me to be a very good Christian, who believe everything in the Bible, written in the Bible, and I live my life, you know, in accordance with the principles of the Word of God. But at the same time, I tell people there are cases where you don't tell a woman to just stay in there because of the children. I think two things is religion and then our culture. You see women being told by their pastors or their religious leaders, God has said it's for better, for worse. I've raised these issues several times on Facebook. You know, I have a forum, Real Thoughts, on Facebook, where we talk about issues like this. And you see people coming up with different, you see the mentality of people that, oh, the woman, what she's about losing her life, let her stay in there. Our culture will tell you, woman, why should you leave your marriage? What do you want people to think of you? And so that is what makes people, you know, they stay in there, they prefer to choose to die in there because of what the society will feel about them. Whatever society is going to say of you is what you want them to say of you, not what they want to say of you. That's what I tell people. Because if I had come out of my marriage, which I did not do on my own, I got to a point where I found out, because my father is a pastor, he's been a pastor for 45 years. So I was raised up in that Christian, you know, family with that background that, oh, marriage is for better, for worse. And I saw my mom and my dad live happily. From birth till today, I have never seen them exchange words publicly. Do you understand? So that's the kind of family I came out from. But you are getting into it with somebody who was a total stranger to you. I was just 17 when I found myself in that marriage. And there was nothing like, oh, I went out with him or I dated him. Nothing like that. So it was like two strangers coming together. And when I got in there, I did everything to make it work because of that thing, like, you are in there, you're not coming out. You must make it work. So I was the best. I went through a lot of torture. And I got to a point where I found out that I was about losing my life, actually. So, and my dad wasn't going to accept divorce. That's the last thing, you know, he would do. And I started praying. I had to pray seriously. I fasted, I prayed. I was, God, please get me out of here. Let this come to an end. And supernaturally, to tell you the truth, it happened. I went to the office. On getting home, I was locked out. So many people wanted me to go back and fight, go back, take my clothes, go. I left everything because I felt God is behind this.
You asked yourself what was more important.
And how long ago was this? Sorry.
That's 3 years plus.
Okay, 3
now.
years. Okay.
And I came out of it. Yes, my children, they happen to be the most important thing in my life. And I didn't fight for the cars, the riches, the properties and everything. No, I only went to fight. He actually went to court. But I found out that I went out to get my children. Okay. Nothing else mattered. You know, that's the mistake women make. You want to stay in there for the riches, for the wealth, for the fame, not for the right reason. Do you understand? The only thing I went out to get was my children. And by the grace of God, through the help of the court, I got the custody of my kids, and I'm happy. Yes.
Now, to what extent can we apportion blames? Not as if that's going to solve anything, but it's here with us. You've raised a key issue about women staying in there, facing the battle, the fire, which sometimes consumes them because of what society would say, the stigma that might come with it. But we also know that there are other root factors. Sometimes it might be from the man, what the kind of person the man is. Sometimes it could have been how the lady in question went about trying to get herself a husband. We know what happens. So let's look at that, the root causes, what can lead into people getting into a situation where they find themselves faced with life-threatening situations in their marriage.
I run programs for singles, and I do a lot of counseling on relationship. When it comes to singles, I always tell them, for the guys, don't always look for beauty, education, or whatever, or fame, or don't go for those things because they are bound to fail you. And I tell women, don't go for a man who is, because he's wealthy, he's educated, the 6 packs, you know, and every other thing is there, or because he's too spiritual. That very spiritual man may turn out to be devil tomorrow. Always go for a man who has conscience, who respects you, and values, you know, places some value, values on you. And I think the root cause is that most times we get into marriage for the wrong reasons. That's the first thing. And then after that another reason is people trying to get into marriage because, they want to be married. I tell people it's not enough wanting to be married. Are you really ready for that marriage? A lot of things affect this, and sometimes it starts from background. When people are raised in abusive homes, where you find the mother, is always nagging, or the father is always beating up the woman, 2 things will happen. It's either the girls that they grow up to become, just like their mother, they will nag or do a lot of other things to their man. And then if, in the case of girls, they will turn out to hate men. In fact, I have about 2 cases now I'm handling, and those girls, you know what they told me? They said, look, we are scared getting in there, see what is happening in relationships. So they're just scared of marriage. And then for guys, they may turn out abusive as their father, or they may just want to let's just be on our own. So when you see people at the age of 40, they are not married, at the age of 55, there are some psychological problems, issues. And again, people are abusive. Sometimes when a man is down, when you talk about finance, he becomes abusive sometimes. And a wise woman should always know how to handle her man in such times. And then for women, we nag a lot. And I always tell women, you must have to deal with it. When a man is talking, learn to. I once did an article titled Water Therapy. Learn to keep your mouth shut. When he flares up like that, just calm down. If you're not able to keep shut, put water in your mouth and keep quiet. Because those are things that lead to it, but there are men who are naturally abusive. In my own case, I saw it.
Sadly.
Yes.
Okay, I want to come anyway, let me say well done to you. Not everybody sits in front of the cameras and tell us all about how they were a victim of, domestic violence. So kudos to you on that one, Amara Nwosu. Now, but let me come to the psyche, the psychological aspect, the trauma that goes with being abused. Oftentimes, women have said that this man abuses you, tells you that you are this, you are that, you are all the wrong things. And then it affects you even on the job or anything. Let's talk to us about that aspect of it.
I went through it all. Not just the physical abuse, not just everywhere, all around. I saw it all. I got to a point where when it's time for me to close from work, I go into the office, and in my private office, I start crying. My secretary or manager then will come to me, "Madam, why are you going through this? You're just too quiet for my liking." The girl actually joined me crying sometimes. I found myself in that situation where if you are with a client, your heart, you're not even relaxed because your mind will be telling you, "Oh, he's going to call now. If you don't take his call, a problem." If he calls you immediately, you don't take his call, the next thing is what? To shut down your office, close down, and come back home. And when you get home, who is that person? Who is more important? Forgetting is a client that you must attend to. So I found myself in that. And you know what started happening to me? I started losing my self-esteem. I started losing confidence in myself because I started seeing myself that, oh, I was the worst. Amara. Oh, you cannot become anything useful in this life. I lost it all. I was actually, on the verge of, losing sanity. Yeah, I got there. But God brought me out of it. So it's a terrible thing. It will bring you from something to nothing. That's what domestic violence does. Because when it's coming from the closest person to you, it's a problem. It should matter to you. Yes.
Okay, before we run out of time, how can we, as a society, because we can't kid ourselves that it's not still happening. It is still happening on a daily basis. And more people are still getting into situations where they are exposed to this, should I call it a menace or a problem. So how can we, as a society, help rein in this problem or stop it if possible? How can we?
I think
what steps?
Yeah, I think our pastors and religious leaders, they have a role to play here, because Nigerians we are very religious people. Like I tell people, I say we are more religious than we are not good Christians yet, but we are just too religious. So our pastors and our religious leaders have a role to play. In case of domestic violence, don't tell the woman stay in there
and die.
Yeah, fine. Later they may come back together, but let her stay out while the problem is being solved. It's a terrible thing. And I tell people, don't judge people until you find yourself in their shoes, until you wear the shoes they wore. Don't talk about it. Be careful. Don't always tell them God has said what I have joined together. And I always tell people, I say, how many of us did God join together? When you raise up that issue.
Very key issue. All right, we definitely will have to revisit this issue. But where is your ex-man now?
I don't know, but I think he's in Ghana, and Ghana, Lagos, and everywhere.
And, if you don't mind our going personal, you've moved on, I guess?
Since, God has given me this heart that I forget things. If not, my body now will be full of scars and every other thing. But
kudos to you, like Chichi said. Kudos once again. We'll drop it at this point for want of time, but we might have to, because these issues keep happening. Definitely we'll have to pull you in again.
Yes,
to discuss
and
more on this.
I don't know if I should say this because, like I told you, Chooks, I have this book coming up.
Yeah.
People should read those books on grooming. Talking about relationship.
Is it out yet?
Okay, let me just help you there. If you would need any help from Amara, get in touch with us. I'll furnish you with all her details.
Yeah, and when the books are out, to get in touch with us, see what we can do about it, because people need help. Thanks for coming on the program.
Thank you, Chicks.
Thanks for watching. To the honest, the program will return tomorrow with a fresh edition.